This is William Ramos with ViralHair.com, and we're here with Valerie and Bernie Finnegan and talk to them about their creative projects. First, we'll start with Miss Valerie, and see that you've done some historical comics based on actual events. How did this come about?
Well, it's not just based on actual events. These are the real deal. 100% true stories. I got started doing this because, interestingly enough, I was working on a more generic superhero project when my collaborator in that endeavor got himself deployed, redeployed, stopped, lost, and redeployed, and he said, you know what, go ahead and do something else. And so I was looking for opportunities to write while also trying to show him and my other buddies who were serving that I was looking out for them from back here. So I started by doing a couple of stories for this book, Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan, which is the biggest benefit comic book for veterans charities ever. And, well, for some reason, people got the impression that I did a pretty good job of this. So they asked me to write about the Korean War, which was something I'd been pushing for anyway. And then that led to the family of the late great Air Force Major General David Sawyer asking me personally to adapt his war journal. So that became Tiger on the Storm. And then I noticed a trend here in writing about OEF and OIF, the Korean War, and Desert Storm. I was telling stories all about men. Granted, these were lesser-known stories, which I enjoyed all the more for sharing. And I decided to kind of dig around, and I was inspired by a couple ladies I knew who served in World War II, one as a Marine and another as an airwac. And I found that in doing my research that there were women who were even lesser known than the WACs, waves, etc. And those were the women Air Force service pilots who, were the first women in America to fly military aircraft. And they were able to fly just about everything under almost every circumstance. And they got very little recognition for that. In 75 years since their program was disbanded, they never got a comic book written about them. Heck, it even took until 1977 for them to be even recognized as veterans.
That's incredible.
So I felt like I really needed to do these ladies some well-deserved justice, and that's what we did here. Just on Friday, right here at Wizard World Austin, we released their book.
That's really great. Thank you very much. As a veteran, I really appreciate that. Now, Bernard has a little bit different take on history with his horror novel, and how did that come about? What was the idea behind it?
Halloween withdrawal, as it were. Christmas gets 2 months, and Halloween only gets only one day, as it were. So it was a late November evening, and walking my dog, saying, "Gee, I have to wait 12 whole months for Halloween to come back around." And Halloween's never enough. It's always too short, and it's never scary enough. And Halloween isn't what it used to be. It's getting a lot more Disneyfied than it was ever supposed to. Ask a lot of people where Halloween came from, and they never even knew. Halloween came from the old ancient Irish Celts. It was the Irish immigrants in the 19th century who brought it over here. And they come with this very rich history there of monsters 1,000, 2,000 years old. That have been totally lost to history. Monsters have never had a movie or a TV show or a young adult romance written about them. Back when this holiday was scary, back when it was as serious as a heart attack, back when this was the night you were supposed to keep your kids indoors. And all this stuff that figured, what if all this stuff popped back up into the middle of our modern Disneyfied Halloween, where we've forgotten why we had these traditions. Jack-o'-lanterns were supposed to be a defense to keep you alive. Wearing a scary costume was supposed to be a defense to keep you alive. And these days, wearing a Elsa or an Iron Man suit isn't going to cut it. We're all going to die. So who are the only people who've been keeping the line, who are still scary who said this is not a kid's holiday, it's supposed to be scary? And I wanted to make a little love note to the cosplayers, the home haunters, and my heroes are haunted house actors. they're the ones who kind of say we have to be scary, darn it. And the Irish, they have if you're tired of vampires and werewolves to the left, right, and everywhere, well, so are the rest of us. I dug deep into stuff centuries long forgotten and dug it up here, and these guys are scary. So someone had to do it. So
since that's part of my ancestry, I really appreciate that. That is very cool. Like that. Since y'all kind of work on different creative projects, do you ever find it weird going to shows together, or is it just kind of fun?
Well, we do have a nice spiel where we say it's always the holidays at our combined booth. It's always Halloween over here, and it's always Veterans Day over at the wife's booth.
And may I remind everybody that Veterans Day is tomorrow on Monday. So by all means, remember to go and shake somebody's hand, tell them thank you, and do something a little more supportive. Maybe go visit the VA hospitals, just to chat with the patients and the residents there. We can do a lot more than just shaking hands and giving out free food.
Right. Do y'all do a lot of shows together?
Yes.
We tend to do a lot of maybe even a dozen shows a year. If you add them all up, it kind of turns into a big blur after a while. But this is as far away as we've been from home in a bit.
Where are y'all based out of?
We are based out of Idaho, southeastern Idaho, near Yellowstone National Park, where if we want to go anywhere worth selling books to, we have to drive 4 hours in any direction. So it's always a big deal.
For people who want to do this, get into this kind of endeavors, do y'all have any words of wisdom for them?
Yes, bring some roadies along that you can trust.
Have lots of stamina. Once you're, I've been to conventions both as a attendee and a vendor. As a vendor, hope you like where you sit, because you're going to be staring at the same wall for about 3 days. Whereas with a person, wander around, see the show, but you're just one person. Now it's a trade-off. Here you do have the opportunity to make yourself known, and if you do it right, we have walked away with these things with more money than we've came to them with, and the other side can't say that. If you make a good product and make a stand, and you can make your mark on the world. So.
Well, thank you all both for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And here.